is 1 o'clock on an absolutely stunning fall day, the 22nd of October. Certainly a lot nicer than what it probably is by the time this video is getting uploaded. Probably like February or something, but I thought I'd shoot a quick little thing out here while I'm enjoying my day off of this. I'm sure a lot of you probably remember this little Acer device. That manufacturing date is probably not accurate because this is a replacement keyboard unit. This is not the original one that this unit shipped with. For those that are just tuning in, this is an Acer Switch 110 model SW1-011-something. I don't remember the exact model, but I bought this thing brand new, probably not too far away from that 2016 date on the underside. But I had bought it brand new for work because I needed a device that had the touch capability that this had and the ability to write with. I don't need that anymore, and this thing is far and away outmoded. It got replaced with a Microsoft Surface Go 2, I believe is what the model on that thing is, and even that thing is just kind of outmoded and has fallen out of use because I just don't need it for that purpose anymore. The Surface sees some use every once in a while, but this really just kind of hasn't. However, it is worth noting, if it will oblige me here, that the battery is still good. At least somewhat good. I've shot a number of videos of this thing that go into great detail about what it is and what I think of it and how I've used it and other various things. Yep, that's all the way up, so there's not much that I can really do for that otherwise. And you can see, well, not really, I guess, but it is pretty heavily taxed with what's going on. Windows is probably a bit much for this particular device, but that's what it's shipped with and that's what it's running, and it's never going to see Windows 11 because the CPU is not supported. And on top of that, it's also running 32-bit Windows. At least I believe it is. It might be 64-bit, but I'm pretty sure this is running 32-bit Windows. It doesn't really make much sense for it to run anything else when you consider that it's, let me see here, go back into this. It's only got 2 gigabytes of memory. At the time, this was a pretty nice thing, because at the time, really the only alternatives that you had at the price point that this thing was at were Chromebooks. And this thing sure beats the pants off of a Chromebook in terms of functionality, because it is a full Windows 10 device. Yep, 2 gigs, 32-bit operating system. 22H2, Windows 10 Home. Apparently was installed in 2020. That's kind of weird. I don't know how that managed. Somebody explained that to me at one point, and I forget what their explanation was, so. But yeah, really, these days, this thing just gets used as a random kick-around laptop. I was using it to test some network equipment, which is funny because the wireless on this thing also kind of sucks. It only supports the 2.4 gigahertz band, which is really kind of limiting. You can tell it hasn't seen power in a long time. You know, it really is just hard to believe. Here we are, about to switch over to November, about to go off of daylight savings time. And it is well above 20 degrees outside. just beautiful. Managed to get the whole day off work. I really didn't need to take the whole day, but I really don't like taking half days. I recorded a number of videos of this thing when I got it. A couple of review videos that went fairly poorly received. I'm kind of surprised at how poorly received they were, but I guess it's because this is a cheap, junky device, and people saw it as a cheap, junky device and not as anything that was actually worth buying. Even though, again, at the time, you gotta realize that this was made. Chromebooks are basically the only competition. Nowadays, you can get all kinds of cheap. I suppose you could get an Android tablet. That's what I had before this, was a little 7-inch Android tablet that really was just kind of quite the piece of crap. This thing was so much better in every way, and, you know, maybe that colored my opinion of it a little bit, because it was just so much better in every way. The digitizer is actually somewhat accurate. It works. The battery is actually good in it. Has a full-size, well, okay, not a full-size keyboard, but it has a physical keyboard, which was nice, etc., etc. Now, of course, the keyboard unit fell apart, so this is a replacement that I got a while back. I think for like $60 plus shipping, if I remember right, what that costs. Questionable whether it was worth putting $60 into a machine that I really wasn't going to use anymore, but I did. It's in good shape. So, that's what this is. Like I said, it's a little hard to read because it's too reflective. All you can see is me. Didn't need a mirror. Well, I tried. That might actually honestly be worse. I don't know, but anyway. Thought I'd shoot this video just to say, yes, it's still here, yes, it still runs, and the battery is even still good. I can't see the mouse, so yeah, I've definitely made it worse. It was advertised as giving 4 hours of battery life when it was new. It's at 89%. Yeah, like I said, when this was new, this would have given about 4 hours of battery life, which was pretty good. Maybe it was 6 hours of battery life. I don't remember. You'd have to go back and watch those videos, but it was a fairly substantial amount of battery life. But these days, of course, you don't get too much out of it because it's been used, and it's been heavily used. You know, what all did I go through on this thing? I replaced this. And I think I did get a replacement unit as well. If I remember right, my first one had a problem with the connections here on the side. And this one also has a problem with the connections here on the side. They're a little weak now. And for the longest time, my SD card didn't work. But yeah, this thing really doesn't see a whole lot of use, but I still have it. So everybody that was saying it was a piece of junk that wasn't going to last more than a year, guess what? It's coming up on 9 years that this thing would have been in existence. And yeah, it's about to run out of support here in about a year. Won't run Windows 11, and Windows 10's end of support's in October, so it won't get updates anymore, but you know what? That's a lot better than a lot of Chromebooks out there that some of which even cost more than this thing did. This, I think, was about a $270 computer when it was new. Less all the taxes and gouging and shipping, or gouging for all three of those if you prefer. You're going to have to go away. That's what you're going to have to do. It's still here. It's still working. I don't really, like I said, I don't really use it for much. My camera is telling me to change the battery pack, but if I were to offer my thoughts on it now, I wouldn't rush out and get one of these on the used market. You can do a whole lot better than that, but as far as these convertible laptop style devices go, other than spending the big bucks on a Surface, you really can't do much better than this. It's either buy a Surface or buy some cheap piece of crap that's not worth spending money on. There's nothing really in between. And would I consider this to be, you know, one of those in-between machines? Maybe not. It's on the high end of low-end junk, but that doesn't make it bad, does it? It worked well for what it was. It did its job admirably for a number of years. It fell out of use, and even after falling out of use, it still has its few purposes. So I'm going to let it install all of its updates and do all of its things, and I'm going to close this video out and enjoy the rest of my beautiful, warm Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any comments, feel free to leave them below.